Good? Yeah. Oh, we're ready. I already know your name, TC, TC, but once again, I just need you to say it and spell it for me so we can make sure no one messes it up.
TC Thompkins, and that's Thompkins.
And it's T.C.
The
right?
nickname that I picked up in the industry.
So, how do I title you? What exactly are you? A producer, marketer, what do you do?
Well, right now I'm the owner of a marketing firm and a label here in Houston.
You've had 20-year history.
Over 20.
How long did you work with Michael Jackson?
Worked with Michael about 6 years.
6 years? Do you remember when you first met him?
Absolutely. First time we met him was we flew to Kansas City on the offset of the Victory Tour. That was the kickoff point for the tour, so all the executives from CBS got into the corporate jet. We flew up to Kansas City, met with him and his brothers and his father, and that was my first encounter with him, was in Kansas City.
What was your first impression when you saw him, when you spoke with him? What went through your mind?
Well, you know, you can't help but just think of all the history of him as a kid, as a child. I mean, just meeting him is like meeting an encyclopedia of music, you know, because, I mean, he had such a long history. Even at that point, even up on the offset of the Victory Tour, he had such a brilliant history in the industry, even before Off the Wall and Thriller. You know, so, I mean, he was a genius, a musical genius. There's just no other way of putting it.
Walk us through, what was it like when we all have stories about working with him, people I've interviewed, but anything in particular stand out in your mind? Any moments, any little story that really highlights who he was?
Well, he was a very personable person once he got to know you. You know, I'm sure if I had grown up under the spotlight like he had from the age of maybe 8 or 9 years old, I probably would have been very paranoid of other individuals also. And once you got to know him and he felt comfortable around him, you know, he felt comfortable around you, his personality just bloomed. But in the beginning, he's very shy, very, you know, standoffish from a lot of people. And it takes his time in developing a friendship with you. And over a certain amount of time, we had developed a real close-knit friendship. He used to call us all the time. He called us, matter of fact, one Christmas. He used to call us every Christmas to wish us a Merry Christmas. He called us one time, we were over my wife's sister's house in Dallas. And he called and he said, "Hi, this is Michael Jackson. Is TC there?" So naturally, she thought somebody was pulling a prank on her. She said, "Oh, sure, this is Michael Jackson. Yeah, sure." I think she hung up on him, didn't she, baby?
I think so.
Yes, she hung up on him. And when we got back to the house, she said, "You know, somebody called her saying they were Michael Jackson." I said, "Sandra, it probably was." And he called back and she was just apologizing forever. You know, I had no idea it was really you, you know. That was a real funny moment there, you know.
Did he refer to himself as Michael Jackson, or was that a little nickname?
No, he said, "This is Michael Jackson," you know, and he didn't have any kind of nicknames, anything that I can think of that he ever referred to himself as.
You say that his personality shined. Michael Jackson, we all know, is this larger-than-life character. But when, again, you said that personality, what was it like? What would he do when he would see you? What was it like?
Light-hearted person, real friendly, very warm, you know, real genuine. I mean, just a rare individual, you know. He's just a very rare individual. He was a lot of innocence in Michael that you just didn't see in an adult man, you know. And I guess that's because of him being protected from a lot of life elements and things that, you know, he just didn't have to experience those things because he lived in a capsule his whole entire life. So he just was never mixed and mingled with a lot of outside people other than people that he worked with and people in the industry. So, you know, that has an effect on you. You know, it has an effect on how you receive individuals and how you are perceived by individuals. Because when I first met him, he thought I was a very aggressive person, you know, and my voice being as heavy and as dominant as it is, it sort of had him a little bit of stand backish about me. And so we finally had to start to warm up to each other before he could really understand the kind of person I was. But I was a very aggressive marketing person. And I'm always pushing, you know, for for the next thing and what we're going to do now to enhance your career better and things of that nature. You know, we did a lot of firsts with Thriller. You know, it was a lot of things done with Thriller that nobody has ever done since, like releasing 2 singles at the same time on different formats. Beat It, we released at pop radio, and Billie Jean, we released at urban radio, and, you know, album was so hot they was even playing it at country radio. I kid a lot of guys about that.
So you spoke about all the experiences that he didn't have that made him a little shy. What about the ones that he did? He led a little controversial life.
Well, you know what? I've been asked about that, especially about the charges that he, you know, were later on in life charged with. You know, I mean, absolutely, positively, never put any kind of faith into any of that. I mean, I spent too much time around him and interacted with him too much to ever feel like that was even possible with him. You know, he just didn't have that kind of devious mindset. It was not that kind of darkness in his soul. I think it was purely money motivated, you know.
When was the last time you spoke with him?
It was back in the 90s. I saw him at a radio convention in Los Angeles at, I think it was a BRE convention. It was a black radio exclusive convention, and he was there. And we had a chance to talk and speak to each other, but I hadn't spoken to him since then.
Was he, when you last saw him, and when you see him on TV, could you see stress?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Very stressed, you know. I mean, you know, being a rock star, an aging rock star, is a task within itself, you know. I mean, you got to realize, you know, everybody's not blessed enough to even have that genius in their youth. So, I mean, to have it throughout your whole entire adult life, and I mean, the aging process is rough on everybody, man, you know, and being able to do the feats that he used to do and leap from, I mean, I've been to some of his concerts where he'd jump off of towers and, you know, all kind of stuff. And I'm sure, matter of fact, because it's coming out because of the narcotics and things that they think this doctor has given him and stuff. Man, he had tons of injuries from all the stage appearances and things of that nature, you know, and sometimes you get a little too heavily medicated, you know, and when you got that kind of money, doctors will basically give you what you want.
I know you're not a doctor, and you probably didn't speak to him about this, but what does your gut tell you?
My gut tells me that he overworked himself in preparation for this tour, and he pushed himself a little bit too far, and probably had a couple of injuries, and probably took some medication that didn't agree with him or something, you know, and just, you know, when you got a combination of different drugs, you know, no telling, you know, because it's not a drug made, it doesn't have a side effect. Yeah, you know, so I think that's what it was. You know, he's a perfectionist. He's always been a perfectionist, and he wanted everything to be just so. And I think he just pushed himself. Matter of fact, I was listening to Jesse Jackson speaking about his rehearsals. I mean, man, a 3-hour rehearsal is too much rehearsal for a man 20 years old. And they tell me he did a 3-hour rehearsal 2 or 3 days before this happened, you know. So, man, I mean, I work out every day, and I can't do but about an hour, okay?
Do you know where you were when you heard the news that he passed?
I was in the shower.
Did they call you? Was it on the news?
My wife came in and told me, she ran in the bathroom and told me, you know, Michael Jackson had died. Naturally, I did not believe it, and I still find it hard to believe, you know. I mean, he's just been a part of my life and everybody's life, especially me being in the industry. He's been a part of the industry my entire time in the industry. You know, so I mean, it's, you know, it's just unbelievable, especially like that, you know, when you with Farrah Fawcett and things of that nature, you know, when you're struggling with an illness or something, you sort of prepare yourself for it, but you never prepare for death anyway. And for it to happen suddenly like that, it just took everybody, you know.
Pretty shocking.
Yeah, pretty shocking.
And my last question for you, what do you think his legacy is? What do we learn from his talent, from his life, from his death?
Well, I mean, I doubt if anyone's going to learn anything from his death. They're going to discuss it and take it apart and all of that. But when you're under that kind of stress and that kind of perfectionist in you, this bred in you, it's going to happen to someone else again, I'm sure. You know, that's going to happen. Money, power, influence is like a drug. And it can influence a lot of people in how they handle you and talk to you. Because, you know, when you're paying people hundreds of thousands of dollars, they're going to give you the answer that you want to hear. So, okay.
The best advice is free.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you can walk up to a stranger that you're not paying and probably get better advice. You know, but his legacy is going to be his music, his talent. I mean, we'll never see another Michael Jackson. I mean, he's an entity unto himself. It will just never be regained again.
Thank you so much for chatting with us. Now, I see a lot of these things over here that you